Everyone, it's the Rockstar 01 coming back to you guys with another NHL update video. As you guys know from watching my previous videos, today was the first day of NHL Free Agency, which means any player that hadn't been re-signed to their team can now be signed to another team or back to their own if they so choose. But usually if a team hasn't signed a player by now, they usually go to a new team. So I'm just gonna briefly talk to you guys about some of the big names, where they went, some of my thoughts on it, and some of my thoughts on what's to come, what I think will come, and some of the other names that have not been re-signed yet. At least I don't believe they are. I didn't get a notification about it. Anyways, some of the biggest names: Milan Lucic signed with the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not sure about the years or the money on that deal, but that was one of the bigger names that it was like, where's he going to go? I'd heard Edmonton initially, so that's not really a surprise that he went there. Louis Eriksson signed with Vancouver, which was kind of a surprise. I didn't really read much about Louis Eriksson's, but I just figured no team would sign him because he's kind of getting old, but Vancouver did sign him. David Perron went to St. Louis, and David Backes went to Boston. So, I mean, that's... Perron was kind of a surprise to me. I thought for sure Anaheim would re-sign him. And as well for Backes not staying in St. Louis. Was another surprise to myself. Kyle Okposo was another one of the bigger names. He is going to Buffalo. And the Blackhawks agreed to terms with Brian Campbell re-signing him for, I think, a 2-year deal. I'm not 100% on that, but that's one of the deals that was done. And, sorry. And the biggest name also of free agency, at least in my opinion, since it wasn't Steven Stamkos, since he re-signed with Tampa Bay, was Eric Staal. Everyone was like, where's Eric Staal going to end up? Is Carolina going to take him back? Is he going to go to the Rangers? Will the Predators take him? Who's getting Eric Staal? Well, we didn't have to wait long. Within the first 30-40 minutes of free agency after it began, Eric Staal signed a deal with the Minnesota Wild, so he will be going to Minnesota. That wasn't one of the teams I had initially heard was looking into him, but I think Eric will make a great fit there. Minnesota's a good team. I've seen them play Pittsburgh before, so that'll be exciting to see him play there. And also Andrew Ladd, who used to play for the Chicago Blackhawks, and then he was playing for the Winnipeg Jets. Signed a 7-year deal with the New York Islanders. That was another one that came as a surprise to me. You know, I thought for sure he'd get re-signed by his team, but, you know, he did not. And lastly, the other player I wanted to talk about, big name player that I wanted to talk about, was James Reimer from the Toronto Maple Leafs, signed with the Florida Panthers, so he will be backup goalie, supposedly, for Roberto Luongo. So, I mean, it'll be awesome to see Reimer in Florida. That was another one that came as quite a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't know. Yeah, I thought for sure Toronto would re-sign him, but who knows about Toronto. That was a lot of the bigger names, and some of the smaller names of players I personally care about. Jeff Zatkoff, who was goalie for the Pittsburgh Penguins, he signed a deal with the LA Kings. You know, that, knowing Jim Rutherford, that doesn't come as a surprise to me. I personally feel like they should have kept Zatkoff because of Fleury's injury. With a concussion, you never know if a player is going to be able to return or what the deal with them will be with that. I think they should have kept Zatkoff and kept him in AHL, you know, like pulled Murray up or Murray really, his only experience was in playoffs. He didn't really have any yes, he won the Stanley Cup essentially for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but he didn't really have any regular season experience, which, yes, playoffs are a higher caliber atmosphere than that, but still, it's a long season, and I think they should have kept Zakhoff on, just in case things don't work out that well with Matt Murray. But it's whatever, it's done, so there's nothing really more that can be done or said about it, I guess. Michael Latta, who plays for the Washington Capitals, he was also signed to the LA Kings, so LA picked up quite a bit of players in the free agency scramble today. And Bo Bennett, who was traded to the New Jersey Devils, I think I talked about that in the last video. His contract was actually up, and both him and Ben Lovejoy have signed deals with the New Jersey Devils. So it's great that they both get to play together. And I'm excited that they're in New Jersey. The Devils are a great team. I love Marty Brodeur, and I followed them when Marty played. So, it'll be interesting to see how things go for them. And then with the Predators, our backup goalie Kerr Hutton, we unfortunately did not re-sign him, and he signed a deal with the St. Louis Blues. So he'll essentially, I believe, take over now backup goalie along with Jake Allen, because Brian Elliott was traded, as I talked about in a previous video. And, sorry, give me 1 second to find this. And the Preds also signed, one of their signings that they did today was they signed Yannick Weber, who I believe he was most recently playing for the Canadiens. I'm not sure if he was with a team after that. I know he played for Montreal, but it'll be nice to see where he fits in on the team. It's always great to have new players come aboard. So, yeah, and one of the other names I've been following that has not been re-signed yet is Jason Demers of the Dallas Stars. I don't know if Dallas is going to re-sign him and they're just waiting, if they're just having a deal set in place, or if another team has been looking into him. I'm not sure if he has been re-signed, but as far as I know, as of now, he has not been signed to a new team. So we'll see what goes on. And then also, Paul Bissonnette was hilariously pining for his own signing all over Twitter. Paul Bissonnette has recently played for the Phoenix/Arizona Coyotes, and he played for the Pittsburgh Penguins as well, and he's hilarious. Following him on Twitter, he just always has something funny to say, and this was nothing less. It was more how Biz always is. One of the teams he was trying to get to sign him was Pittsburgh. So, if Pittsburgh re-signs him, that would be awesome. I love Paul Bissonnette. I don't know really where he'd fit in on Pittsburgh right now, but Pittsburgh could use some players. A lot of their players went off to free agency, and they really didn't sign any players. I know they signed a couple development players, but I don't believe they signed anyone else. So we'll see how it goes for them. Nashville's in pretty good standings as of now with what they've signed. I think they might still sign one more or make a few more deals. Who knows? But another thing about Nashville is they still haven't named a captain. I'm not sure if they're going to be doing that soon or if they're going to wait until preseason. From what I heard, they were Timpoli and Laviolette were meeting to talk about it. So, popular opinions on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, all that stuff that I've seen have been Mike Fisher, James Neal, Roman Josi, Philip Forsberg, and then there's a few people who think PK Subban, who was acquired in the trade from Shea Weber. But we shall see. In my personal opinion, I think it should be James Neal because he's been an alternate captain with the Nashville Predators now for 2 seasons. he really has stepped into that leadership role, because there was a time when both Weber and Fisher were out, and he really kind of stepped up and took over that spot that he needed to do. And also he has like 3 years, I think, remaining left on his contract that he signed when he was in Pittsburgh. So they won't have to worry about re-signing him for another 2 to 3 seasons. And yeah, I mean, I know some people say, and yes, he does sometimes, take bad penalties and make silly plays, but also it's been a lot different from when he played in Dallas and Pittsburgh until now, and I think he has really stepped up, and you know, I think he's proven that he is a leader on the team, and yeah, I just think he is a good candidate for it. I know a lot of other people think Mike Fisher, because he has been on the team now the longest. He has more veteran standards, and he's also been an alternate for a long time. But Mike Fisher only has, this is the last year remaining on his contract, and there is the age with him. Yeah, so they'd have to worry about re-signing him next year, and if they aren't able to re-sign him next year because of the expansion, then they're going to have to name a captain again. So